Hi, I'm Colin the Hop Adams and I'm here to introduce my third video film for you, Lazarus Speaks. And it's, well, you know how I've been kind of trying to get the title of the Boris Karloff of Darlinghurst, the third part of my trilogy of mystery, and it's about a journo and a theology student who encounter an entity named Lazarus through weird circumstances, and it's what outcomizations they come to. This was a Graham Richardson, Jeffrey Harford production, and it has me in it. So I'd like to share this with you, and thank you to everybody for being very kind and very enthusiastic and also very helpful in your advice. Now, the thing is, I'd like to also thank a very good friend of mine, Patrick Ward, who did all the CGI material on all three films. And Patrick's a very fine actor. He's also a brilliant animator and does fantastic CGI work. You'll probably remember the helicopter coming up to the window in Chapter 11. That's his stuff. He's very kind to aspiring filmmakers. So, Patrick, I'd like to thank you. And with no further ado, Lazarus Speaks.
Man is conscious of being surrounded by the great unknown, and at the same time believes that he can get through it. But he cannot imagine, or if he can, then only vaguely, what lies behind this wall, and among all the insoluble problems with which he is surrounded by. Two occupy a special position: the problem of the invisible world and the problem of death. As an investigative journalist for the Scientific Reporter, I received by 2 a.m. a call from a colleague informing me of a notice pertaining to a meeting with which I was being invited to attend. A woman who, it was claimed, had psychic abilities. I arrived at the Silver Chrysalis Cafe. It was important as my colleague Clinton informed me that terms of the are now referred to as GI. It was explained that Lazarus was an entity, a personality now speaking through G. Now in a weakened state, allowed this without conflict with your egos. The program was: Lazarus would speak and afterward ask questions. And so it began. As for the cigars, Lazarus explained that in one of his previous lives, he was rather partial to them.
The fourth dimension. This physical reality is cast from another dimension. Like the shadow which is cast upon the wall, how you and everything else comes into existence.
You say your path lies. How is it possible?
Nobody dies. It's just that all concept of time is linear. Now draw me a line and put it into the universe.
The line informing me of a notice pertaining to a meeting with which I was being invited to attend. A woman who, it was claimed, had psychic abilities. I arrived at the Silver Chrysalis Cafe. It was important as my colleague Clinton informed me that terms of the essence, as this woman now referred to as G, was dying. It was explained that Lazarus was an entity, a personality now speaking through G. Now in a weakened state, allowed this without conflict with your egos. The program was: Lazarus would speak and afterward ask questions. And so it began. As for the cigars, Lazarus explained that in one of his previous lives, he was rather partial to them.
The fourth dimension. This physical reality is cast from another dimension. Like the shadow which is cast upon the wall, how you and everything else comes into existence.
You say your path lies. How is it possible?
Nobody dies. It's just that all concept of time is linear. Now draw me a line and put it into the universe.
The lines are there informing me of a notice pertaining to a meeting with which I was being invited to attend. A important, as my colleague Clinton informed me, that terms of the essence, as this woman now referred to as G, was dying. It was explained that Lazarus was an entity, a personality now speaking through G, now in a weakened state, allowed this without knowing itself. The program was speak, and afterward ask questions. And so it began. As for the cigars, Lazarus explained that in one of his previous lives, he was rather partial to them.
The fourth dimension. This physical reality is cast from another dimension. Like the shadow which is cast upon the wall, you and everything else comes into existence.
You say your path lies. How is it possible?
Nobody dies. All concept of time is linear. Now draw me a line and put it into the universe.
The line to the universe has no end. Indeed, has no beginning.
Draw me a circle.
A line with no beginning or end.
And imagine a point comes up on that circle. Does that mark the beginning or the end?
So there is no past or future, only the present.
An eternal moment. And hence also the idea of eternal reoccurrence.
Where every moment exists forever. Christ Almighty, how am I ever going to convince anyone what she did if they weren't there to experience it? Lyndon called again. G was dead. We went to pay our respects. It was then that we were issued a set of instructions, some bread with a drop of blood on it, hers, to be consumed before the resurrection could happen. And then I caught the dream for a moment, a shadow called reality. Christ Almighty. How am I ever going to convince anyone what she did if they weren't there to experience it? I've said it before. Deja vu, a moment of self-remembering when you think you've been here before, because you have been here before. A dream I remembered in understanding revelations. My dream, not the book of just mine. The circle had already begun. A new dual reality where my past is nowhere in order, and it is being present in that, where I see my future. Lyndon had told me we had been summoned for one last supper. We were told Lazarus was the bridge, or connection, that the blood was necessary as it contained remnants of the psychic makeup of Lazarus, the handle on which to familiarize himself with all this reality. This thought.
You are a soul. You are a soul. Your soul is immortal and it is aware of itself. So consciousness isn't something you lose, ever. To come back here, to learn here, you must simply remember yourself in your dreams.
But this is the hardest thing to do, as time is the furthest distance between 2 points. So to traverse this time so seemingly infinite, you must simply remember yourself in your dreams.
To remember yourself in your dreams, first you must remember you dreamt.
Remember that man is conscious of being surrounded by the wall of the great unknown, and at the same time believes that you can get through it.